One of the most challenging aspects of managing people, especially for inexperienced managers, is dealing with underperformance. If it's left to fester, it can spread, but if it's dealt with too harshly, it can cause a decline in morale or even legal issues. But if tackled well, underperformance can be turned into loyalty. Under no circumstances, though, can a blind eye be turned. Tolerating underperformance can demoralize high-performing team members and reduce team productivity. A single underperformer has been shown to decrease team performance and morale by 30 to 40% by Harvard Business Review studies. If people don't pull their weight, that leads to others picking up the slack. And along with declines in productivity, this affects a team's ability to innovate. Then there's the financial impact, and each underperforming employee on average costs businesses 20 to 35% of their annual salary, according to research by the Society for Human Resource Management. So underperformance must be tackled. But what's the best way to handle it? Well, before you can answer that question properly, it's important to consider more holistically how tolerant of fluctuations in performance you're willing to be as a company, which really is about the culture that you're trying to create. In some organizations, a perform or perish culture exists, while others are more nurturing, trusting their ability to find the right people in the first place, and then understanding that everyone, even the most talented, is susceptible to periods of underperformance. Now, neither of these approaches is fundamentally right or wrong, and there are plenty of shades of grey between these 2 points, but understanding where you stand as a company is a crucial first step. If you're the line manager dealing with an underperforming employee, you must identify problems early and communicate them to the individual in question. Don't wait to see if things get better. If you spot an issue, address it. Start, though, from a position of seeking to understand. Say to them, I've noticed that your work wasn't up to the usual standard we expect on this project, and why do you think that is? There might well be genuine challenges that explain a drop in performance, which are easily addressed without launching into a formal process. If an issue does exist, though, loop in your direct supervisor and document the situation. This protects you from any legal issues in the future, and it also means you don't have to act alone. A sounding board can be really useful when making challenging people decisions. Working with the employee, create a clear set of outcomes, expectations, and deadlines, as well as outlining the eventual consequences if these aren't met. Now, it might seem heavy-handed to flag eventual dismissal at an early stage, and you should absolutely come from a position of wanting to help rectify the issues. But there's nothing worse than underplaying the seriousness of underperformance, and then later having to deal with someone who's taken by surprise as consequences become more significant. Create a plan to achieve the outcomes you've agreed, with actions for both parties. Make sure that you, as the manager, do the necessary work to provide resources, remove obstacles, and make connections, so that your employee can do their part too. And when you next review progress, which should be shortly after the underperformance is identified, don't leave it too long. You have 2 questions to answer. Firstly, have the objectives been met? And then if not, has the plan been followed? Because it's not just about outcomes. If your underperforming team member has applied themselves and done what you'd agreed they'd do, but they've not achieved the required results, then it might be that the plan needs adjusting. If that's the case, make a new plan, sign off on it together, and reset your deadlines. Sometimes, though, despite your best efforts, your underperforming employee just won't engage with the plan you create. Or they might be trying hard but not delivering due to skill and competency issues. And there are times when these can be addressed with training, and others when the amount of support needed actually outweighs the benefit of them doing the job in the first place. If someone struggles with written communication, for example, and that's affecting their ability to deliver what you need from them, then teaching them to write properly is likely too heavy a lift to be worthwhile. If underperformance continues, then you have a decision to make. You can continue to try to find ways to make it work. However hard you push, though, a square peg isn't going to go into a round hole. Or you can look for other roles that the person might be better suited to. But ultimately, if neither of these options is viable, you might have to let the underperformer go. Do that with compassion and without blame, and explain the situation with honesty and understanding to the rest of your team. You'll often be surprised at how unsurprised they are when you tell them. So managing underperformance can be extremely difficult, but it is essential for individual career development and for overall team results. So be proactive, be clear, be compassionate, and be decisive. And you can turn potential performance issues into opportunities to improve your business.